Hello and welcome everyone to the Delmar Show. Thank you guys for joining me for another fantastic episode. A couple of years back, I mentioned that I was going to get an Xbox One that I could play Cuphead along with a few other games that I was excited that were Xbox One exclusive. And I did have an Xbox One. Except I never really touched it. And the reason? We get distracted too easily. Maybe it's just because me and my brother just love Nintendo and the PlayStation more, that when we see a brand new game on it, it was like, oh, we want to try that next and such. And there were many other games that were Xbox One exclusive that I was wanting to try, like for example, Super Lucky's Tale. This is a game that is a sequel to an Oculus Rift VR game titled Lucky's Tale. And when I saw the trailer at one of the E3 conferences, it did really good. It was bright and colorful, it was a platformer, something that, yes, be honest, we rarely get an exclusive on an Xbox system, so I was really excited for it. So was that going to be the game for me to finally turn my Xbox One on a lot? Not really, because I keep forgetting about the game. Then again, keep in mind, when Super Lucky's Tale was coming out for like the Xbox One, there was a lot of platforms coming out that is sort of kind of hidden Super Lucky's Tale from the radar a bit, that my mind kind of like glanced over. But I try to promise myself to get Super Lucky's Tale because that Xbox One system like is a good system, has nice controllers, interface is good and such, and they're all good exclusives. So it's like I am gonna get Lucky's Tale, that way I can finally use that system, and that way I can play it, and it could be the best of buddies. Then Nintendo announced that it was coming on Nintendo Switch. Hey Xbox One, would you like to meet my friend James? So while I will admit it's a really sad story about us having an Xbox One and it collecting dust more than any other system we have, but at the same time, when they announced the new Super Lucky's Tale for the Switch, I was excited because it felt like an expanded version from the original, and many people seem to love this a little bit more than the Xbox One version. And I mean, granted, I felt bad having to portray the Xbox One, but at the same time, I like the Nintendo. And I wanted Lucky, so why not play Lucky on the Switch? So even though it took me probably 2 years to finally play Lucky's Tale, was it worth it to wait until this expanded version came onto the Nintendo Switch system? Personally, I'm glad I waited. Like as soon as I put in the game, I fell instantly in love with it. With the controls, the world, the characters, everything about this game is so good. So yes, I'll open through the Book of Ages and experience Lucky's Tale, which is brand new and is super good. There are these group of people called the Guardians who are trying to protect the Book of Ages from the game's villain Jinx and his batch of kids called the Kitty Litter. They corner the last remaining Guardians, but the book opens up and takes the Kitty Litter along with Laura's little brother Lucky inside it. What is the Book of Ages? It's a book that contains many different worlds and creatures that all inhabit in it. So it's up to Lucky to stop the Kitty Litter, collect all the missing pages, and put the book back together so he can head back home to his sister. Now I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time comparing the original Xbox One version to the Switch counterpart because that'll take a long time, but I will admit one thing that I do like from the Xbox One version is the opening. It kind of explains the story just a little bit better, where it has Lucky and Laura in it instead of focusing on like Guardians and Sky Castle or anything. It was more of a simple story setup, and for some people there may not be heavy deep roots within the plot or the whole world that will really make it seem grand. Like they do mention, or like Greg the Milk Golem mentions a little bit about Lucky's brother Lucas, who you don't really see until like the end of the game, and it sort of feels like left clues, like there were some holes within this world that sounds unique but probably didn't really get deep development into, like they didn't really develop the universe that hugely anymore. However, I kind of look at New Super Lucky's Tale kind of like with any Mario game. You remember more about Mario's journey in the game than you do about Peach and Bowser trying to get along or something of that matter. And that's how you get New Super Lucky's Tale in a way. It's more about the journey and the fun places that you go to as Lucky. For Lucky doesn't have like huge deep character personality, like he loves to have adventure, wants to prove that he can be a guardian like his sister, and so I kinda yuck at him more like Mario about his journey going through the Book of Ages and his interactions with many of the different inhabitants that you meet. In fact, to be fair, that's one thing I like about the game. They definitely took a huge note from Rareware games such as Banjo-Kazooie about making fun characters and interesting dialogue. You'll come across many different types of inhabitants that you're allied with, such as the farming worms, the cookie spookies, many different golems, and probably my favorite batch, the wrestling yetis. I love the wrestling yetis. They were my favorite because I had the whole Hulk Hogan voice with each yeti going like, "Brother, you gotta learn about peace and tranquility, gotta get your mind not be succumbed to this life." And I just had so much fun listening to the dialogue. They were so much fun. Of course, the character that you will come across the most is Greg the Male Golem. He's literally the first character that you see as soon as you enter into the Book of Ages into Sky Castle. He's very friendly and helpful for Lucky, wanting to help him get back home. And every loading screen has Greg hinting out a little funny jokes such as this one. This joke made me laugh so much. As well as trying to provide some world building into the game. Like talk about how Jinx used to be a guardian, but then after his world got lost, he sort of become corrupted and evil, and also how Jinx loved to play tricks on the other guardians, such as turning coins invisible, which I thought that was a really cool attention to detail there. Like they actually explained the invisible coins. That was actually really cool. As for the visuals and audio, I thought that they were really great. Like it was bright, colorful, I loved the level designs. But then viewing what the game originally looked like in the Xbox One version, it was like night and day. Like they literally were not joking with this being new Super Lucky's Tale. They expanded upon the original extensively. In fact, the music itself got a major upgrade from the original as well. I mean, there's some music tracks from the Xbox One that does get carried over to new Super Lucky's Tale, but a lot of the music has got a major upgrade in different percussions, different instruments, different tones. In fact, the very first level has my favorite music track. It's really great. It speaks a lot about adventure and excitement, about the possibilities of going through many different worlds that Lucky's gonna go to. It's one of my favorite music tracks. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the game, the gameplay. And I know I'm sort of repeating the same thing that I said in my last episode where I talked about how perfect the controls were in Mickey Speedway USA, but the controls in New Super Lucky's Tale feels perfect. I mean, sure, Lucky doesn't have a huge variety of moves compared to Mario, but Lucky has some pretty interesting moves, like he can dig underground, he can tail swipe to give him a little bit more of elevation in the air, and messing around with the controls feels so perfect. Like, just messing about with Lucky, jumping up and down and sliding and everything, it feels perfect. If you yucked at New Super Lucky's Tale and thought that this game was going to be a platformer, well, you're right, it's a platformer. But one thing I love about New Super Lucky's Tale is that there are many different level designs. Like most of the levels you go to, you can run around and explore a different way to do a certain objection and find all the different missing pages. But there's also 2.5D levels as well, that takes a little break from the 3D levels, and these I really love. But there are a few levels that are auto-run scrollers, and these are my least favorite as well. I don't really get engaged with auto runs personally, they're just not that engaging to me. But luckily there's not really that much. In fact, I think there's only like 5 levels counting the post-game levels as well, so it's not really that bad. In each hub world there's also a few small levels as well, such as these short little puzzles, as well as these maze levels that frankly can be a little bit confusing as the controls can get really wobbly, and unfortunately you can't really use like the HD rumble on the controller, but they work out pretty well after you get used to them. Although I have to compliment on the level designs once again, they are so much fun. They're not super difficult, and some will argue that it's not as challenging compared to many platformers, but they were so much fun to explore. Like again, they look vibrant and different from each other, not one level looks the same. And it was just fun finding all the different stuff that are hidden in each level. Some of them were hidden pretty sneakily a little bit. And speaking of collectibles, your main goal is finding all the missing pages, and each level has 4 missing pages that you will collect. The most easy one is obviously going to the end of the level and getting that one, but the others are a little bit more different. One of them involves collecting all 5 letters that spell out Lucky. There's a secret hidden page that is usually hidden like a secret bonus level in each level. And then there's collecting 300 coins. And collecting coins is actually pretty necessary in the game. But why would you need to collect more than 300 coins in a level? Well, you can buy costumes for Lucky. There's this one golem that makes many different costumes, and with these costumes you can dress up as Lucky. You could dress him up like Indiana Jones, a sheriff. You can even dress him up as some of the Kitty Litter clan members. I mean, that's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool costumes that you can dress up Lucky as. I think one thing that would be really sweet to do is that these costumes, like each costume has like a special power up for Lucky. Like one costume can add an extra hit point for Lucky, one can make Lucky have super speed a little bit, or just have some different powers for Lucky. I think that would have been a really nice touch there. Although I do want to mention the difficulty again, as the game is pretty easy. I mean, the levels are super fun and engaging, but if you're looking for a hard challenge, this is not the game for you. I mean, I did die a couple times, but not as often as I did like in any other platformer. Although I actually did get a bit of chuckle looking at this, like you see Lucky go, "Oh no, I lost a life, we're gonna die!" And I'm just looking at it like, "Oh no, 48 lives to go! Oh dear, Jinx is gonna kill me! He's gonna throw me in the litter box! Oh no 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 no!" Although once you do beat the game, you actually go to Foxington, where you could participate in many different levels made by the Guardians to make Lucky into an official Guardian. These levels are a little bit harder, but not super hard. I was able to get through most of them pretty easily. So while I will admit, I don't really care much for the auto-scroll levels that often. They're kind of weak in my opinion, even though there's only a little bit sprinkled throughout the game. And then for some people, the difficulty of the game may not be tough. I think there are some people that prefer a challenge, and if you're looking for one, there's not really much in New Super Lucky's Tale. But for me, I love this game. It's become one of my personal favorites on the Nintendo Switch. And overall, I just love the atmosphere of this game. It's fun, lighthearted. Visually, the game is breathtaking. I love the characters. They're so much fun, including Greg, the male golem. The music is upbeat and peppy and adventurous. I just love this game overall. And there's actually, I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end, but there's a possible hint that there's going to be a sequel being made. And honestly, I will love to see more come from Playful. I mean, they made an excellent game, and I really hope that they continue on with the adventures of Lucky, as well as expand upon new ideas, because after this, I'm really excited to see what Playful has to offer. So I definitely recommend grabbing this game when you get a chance to. You will not regret it, especially if you love 3D platformers. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. So if you would like to leave your thoughts on today's game, just comment below. If you played all the way through both versions, Super Lucky's Tale and New Super Lucky's Tale, which one do you like? I know obviously a lot of people will say new, but I know there might be some people that will be like, oh, the original Xbox One version is a little bit more better in my opinion. So I definitely want to see what people think of which one is better if you played both versions all the way through. And I really love the game. I am really impressed with how well I've enjoyed it, as well as just waiting for so long, but the wait was worth it. So thank you guys for watching this episode. God bless yous, and I will see you all in the next episode of The Delmar Show. Bye bye!